Loneliness is a health issue right now.
There's a lot of loneliness in the city. It's quite hard to meet like-minded individuals, but it's also hard to meet people outside of the night space. And I think I wanted to change that whole dynamics.
Where do you see the future of communities? Where do you see this whole thing going?
I think communities are going to rule the world.
AI will be able to help, assist, make things better, but you will always need in real life connection.
Communities are what kept me in New York. I was ready to leave within 2-3 months.
Hi, my name is Tionne.
Hi, my name is Owen.
And welcome to Visionaries in Progress.
Hi, everyone. My name is Owen Akhibi Herrera, and I'm the founder of Peak and Pace.
What's going on, everyone? My name is Tionne Barmer, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Blacklist NYC.
Great. Okay, so we have a few questions to go through today. Very interesting. So Tionne and I met about, 2 years ago now?
2 years ago, right?
2 years ago. It's crazy. 2 years ago in June, actually, I went to your first day party. So,
yes, sir.
And I had a great time. That was an amazing day party. I met plenty of people, and it was the first time that I really got myself outside of my comfort zone, I would say, in New York. So let's start at the beginning. I mean, what sparked the idea to build a community in New York City for you, and how did it all come together?
It's a great question. So for me, it really came from a place of a personal interest. So I started Blacklist in 2022. So it was around a year after we were all allowed to hang out. In 2021, the city opened as long as you had a vaccine card. And I really enjoyed the process of being out again, getting to meet people. I was in sort of my mid-20s. But I found the way that I was personally connecting wasn't fulfilling. So we were going to, your atypical your nightlife spots, which I found to be great to sort of let loose, to drink, to hang out with your friends. But I felt like there was a dearth of opportunities to really connect, to be in a place where there was an accessible way, right, to meet other people, to talk to other people, to, meet a friend, meet a potential business partner, to meet, your next date or significant other. They just didn't feel like there was enough events for that. And so I was like, hey, what if I just created a space for that? And so that's what I did. I named it Blacklist NYC and just sort of, created the logo and did my first event. And the concept really seemed to stick. I think what I realized is a lot more people feel a sense of loneliness and being alone in a city that feels like, like New York City, that feels like there's so many people to meet and so many opportunities. I decided that was sort of my passion and mission with Blacklist, and have grown it ever since. It's been 3 years since we've done it. I would also like to ask you, how about you? Why'd you make Peak and Pace?
I want to say congratulations for making 3 years.
Thank you.
Having that longevity here in the city is something that's quite hard to do, and you've done it very successfully, so well done. I think Peak and Pace for me was something similar to your story, in the sense that there's a lot of loneliness in the city. It's quite hard to meet like-minded individuals, but it's also hard to meet people outside of the night space, and I think I wanted to change that whole dynamic. So when I went to church and I found my community, I really felt like that feeling I got of community made me want to stay in New York. I don't know if you remember, I told you plenty of times I want to leave New York. I was ready to leave. And literally within 2 months, I think you and I went to Chicago. I saw a run club there and I was like, yes, wow, this is a great idea. I should just start the same thing here. And so that's where Peak and Pace really came out, right? The Peak and Pace, the Peak stands for the peak of the mountain, for the hikes and for the outdoor space. And the Pace stands for, of course, for the running and everything else. Now, it was never the idea to just have a run club. I think initially when I first came to New York, I told you I've always wanted to do events.
Yep.
I used to do events in London. It's part of my my routine, and I wanted to incorporate the same thing here, and we have done so successfully. So now we have a very safe space for people to gather, and that's part of the reason why Peak and Pace got started in the first place. It was to bring people together into a safe community space where people can get to know one another, and so we've created this amazing harbor of people who network together, who go out together, party, and also exercise together, which is great.
I'm definitely a witness to that, and I think you're being quite humble. So yeah, Peak and Pace has grown an incredible amount in the last year, and I know firsthand how difficult it can be to build and maintain these communities. Honestly, particularly in New York, as such a sort of like one of the biggest cities in the world. So I want to ask you, what does it take to build Peak and Pace and keep a real community here?
Commitment.
Yeah.
I think you and I can attest to that. Like, this is not easy. And especially doing events in New York, you need backing either from friends, God, like community. You need the backing because it's a lot of work.
Yep.
And a lot of the time, there's so much logistically that needs to go behind the scenes. It is a lot of work. And if you want to grow at such a fast pace, you need to be ready to commit and just to just to know that you might not have as much free time as people want. It's funny, I had one of my friends actually reach out to me the other day and say, hey, I just started a community in London. When do you get time to go out and see friends and all of that stuff? And yeah, I mean, it's you do sometimes, but it's hard.
Yep.
It's hard. So I think the answer to that is just being committed.
Yeah.
I would like to ask you the same question. You know, what does it take to build a community like this?
Same thing. You got to be really, and you hinted towards this, you got to be really self-assured that what you're doing is the right thing and makes sense and have your mission at core. I feel like, I mean, it's New York City. There's so many, there's not a dearth of event groups and things and people hosting events. And you really have to know like where your segment in the market is and what makes you special. And I feel like what we've both done very well is we've kept sort of like our core target market, and we kept our branding at the center of everything that we've done with every event that we do. And that's so everything feels authentic and intentional with our event. I think it's helped you grow extremely fast, and then us, you know, just maintain over the last 3 years.
I think it's not talked about enough, the branding side of things.
100%.
It needs to be consistent so then people know exactly what you're offering and they know exactly what they're walking into.
100%.
And I guess that leads me to the next question, which is I've been to so many of your events, and there's so many moments where I've been like, okay, cool, this is like an amazing thing that Tionne's done. But let me ask you directly, like, what's something that you're very proud of that you've done with Blacklist?
I think the number one thing for me, like my number one KPI, is the amount of people that truly feel comfortable, one, to come alone, and then two, actually meet people. And just on the ground, I'm hearing, oh, I met so-and-so at Blacklist and we went on a date. I've done this for 3 years now, and I've literally seen people go to my event and then I see them a year later and they're like, yeah, the girl I'm dating or the guy I'm dating is from Blacklist.
Wow.
Or I've created a new friend group, or even if it's just like just for that day, honestly, but just for one day for you to feel slightly less alone and slightly more connected. Although, like I said, we do have a lot of events in the city, I don't think a lot of them cater for this purpose, you know, for the purpose of genuinely talking to someone, having a real conversation, having a good time, and that conversation leading to a more meaningful connection for me is number one.
It's a very diverse city, so.
100%, yeah. Same to you. What has that been for you?
The proudest moments of me within Peak and Pace have been the moments where I have somebody coming to me and saying, I haven't run in 10 years. And you have changed my life completely.
Wow, yeah.
I've started running again, and it's not something that I ever thought I would do. But not only that, I'm doing it with people who are encouraging me on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful because you get people from all ages, right? You know, you've been to Peak and Pace. We get people that are 20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. We have a 5K race in Governor's Island this September for 2,000 people. And we have ages literally ranging from 18 all the way to 60.
Wow.
It's powerful. That. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
So I think that for me has been the proudest moment I've had. In your opinion, why do strong communities matter? Why are they so important in New York?
I mean, I've been doing a bunch of research on this exact topic, and it became apparent to me that loneliness is a health issue right now. And so for me, that sort of became my whole North Star, is realizing that like not having a community literally can make you die quicker, can literally lead to health implications later in your life. And it's a problem that's growing very rapidly right now, particularly honestly in Gen Z. And if you think about like just where we're at in society right now, all of these sort of digital companies want us to be on our phones and are getting all this advertising dollars from us being sort of on our phones and connecting with each other through that medium. So creating like an in real life community to me is extremely special and almost feels revolutionary in a way in this era, because we're literally encouraging people to get out of their house, you know, put the phones down or whatever you're using and connect to someone new. So that is, you know, essentially why I think community is really important. But for you, for Peak and Pace, like what's your, you know, your big reason, your big why, and what makes you want to build the community further?
Communities are what kept me in New York. I was ready to leave within 2-3 months, and building my own community here established my network and established my foundation to building more in New York.
Yep.
I think if it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't feel at home. I wouldn't feel safe, wanted, like needed here, you know? I think when you establish something that is somewhat of a network, even if you don't know the people, it's people that you get along with, that makes a huge difference. And at least to me, that changed my whole life completely. It made me stay. Things improved drastically. My mental health improved. I got a relationship. I got way more friends. Everything just improved.
Yep.
All because of finding community in this space.
And so we're talking about all the positives.
Yeah.
And we both know, we both talk about this. In terms of like, building community, what's been sort of the hardest part about building community? And honestly, a moment where whether you may have questioned if it was worth it or not.
I think managing people is easy at times, but it can be very tough at times too. And I think in the event space in particular, because you're managing so many different relationships all simultaneously, it can be quite hard to maintain a certain level of a unique relationship, let's call it. It's hard to maintain those good relationships with everybody simultaneously. I think from the timing perspective, it does take a lot of time to organize these things. And at certain times, there's other things you want to do. You have work, you have sports, you have other commitments that get in the way. And sometimes you have to put those extracurricular commitments aside to commit to this. And I think that's something that I kind of struggled with because I've always been, I used to exercise twice a day. I used to do a lot more that I don't have the flexibility to do anymore. And I think that's something that I've quite struggled with.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. What about you? What's been like a very tough moment?
I think what I realized is building a brand, right? Like you said, you end up having this whole team of people that help you, right? You have all these partners. You have, in the event space, you have your media, you have your graphic design team, you have, any partners you may have, your venue, all of these partners that contribute to, your overall brand. And ultimately what I realized is to the outside customer, all they see is the brand. And so anything that, may slip or may go wrong, whether it's under your, sort of direct line of vision, is ultimately your fault and you are responsible for answering for it. And so for me, just coming from a traditional corporate background, that was a huge transition for me, is realizing that I'm in charge no matter what. Like I'm the one putting this experience together. And when people are upset, they're upset. But when people are happy, they're really, really happy, which makes it, worth it. And those times are much greater than the times that people are upset. Ultimately, it's, my responsibility and my duty, honestly, to make sure that everyone's doing the right thing for the brand. So, question for you. Where do you see the future of communities? Where do you see this whole thing going?
I think communities are going to rule the world. I honestly think that going forward, communities are going to grow at a very rapid pace because people are going to seek real life connections that they don't have to this day. And I think places like ours, where people deem it as a safe harbor in a way, a place for them to gather and get together and get to know new people, those places are going to be scarce.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we come in and we say, okay, well, we're offering you a space for you to interact with other people in real life, but not just other people that are like-minded. And I think that is the key. There's going to be hundreds, thousands of communities, and there already is.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just going to see that exponentially grow over the next few years as AI essentially and technology separates real life from virtual reality essentially.
Yeah.
And I just see the space growing at a vast pace.
I couldn't agree more. I tend to think about things in that lens as well. I'm always thinking about like, what can AI replace? And what AI cannot replace are two things you actually work on, which is one, your physical health. You will always have to do things for yourself physically to keep yourself healthy and for longevity. AI will be able to help, assist, make things better, but it can never replace you taking care of yourself. AI can't run for you. And then two is in real life communities, right? Like you can have these online communities, you can have, all of these other things, but you will always need in real life connections. And that indirectly ties back to health as well. It's really another health determinant. And I think in the place that we're at now, with the sort of explosion of AI, in real life communities are going to become extremely important and essential for everyday life.
In terms of events, do you have anything interesting that's coming up for Blacklist?
Yeah, so the summer is obviously full. Next week, we're going to have a big backyard cookout. We have also a bunch of rooftop events that sort of center around music and a bunch more events that we haven't yet released. So I don't want to say them yet, but we're really excited in general about what we have planned. And what about you?
So we have a few day parties this summer, which I'm very excited about. But most importantly, I'm very excited about September 6th. September 6th, we're hiring out an entire island. We're having 2,000 runners come through. And we're having a carnival afterwards with some of the best DJs globally. And that's going to be insane. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that done. So I'm very, very excited for that. How long do you see yourself doing events for?
I found something that I really enjoy and I really love. Obviously, it evolves over time with me and also what people want. Like, I think events are a product of what people ultimately want. But in general, I think I'll be doing events lifelong. Like, I think for as long as I work, I'll be doing events. How about you?
Same. Yeah, I think I've always liked to bring people together, and this has given me the perfect excuse to bring people together. So I truly do see myself bringing, a community together for the rest of my life.
I think it's hard when you're building community. It's scaling can be difficult. And I think, like, for example, if we were to grow Black, we could do this. I could do a franchise model where, like, DC, I'll just take DC for example. DC has a Blacklist branch. New York has a Blacklist branch. But those need to say, in my opinion, they need to stay somewhat separate because community needs to be localized to some degree. And so I think there's other structures where you can create a concept and travel with that concept, and that becomes more of a, bona fide global brand. But it's just a slight difference. I don't particularly see Blacklist in the current form being something that I would take to other cities unless I just repeated that formula and then did like a franchise model.
I see Peak and Pace having the potential to go international. I just don't know how quickly it would grow in other spaces. For example, even London, I don't think it would grow that quick as it grew here. But I think it would, though. There's definitely potential.
Yeah.
There's definitely potential for it. Yeah.
I think we both already have, because New York is such a transient city too, I think we already have somewhat global brands, to be honest. Like, I know people who experience both of our brands
who come here for them.
Yeah. So I do think on the other hand, I think New York is ultimately one of the best cities in the world to start a global brand because everyone comes to New York. It's such a tourist attraction, especially during the summer, that people want to experience. And so, like, I think it's like the best place to start anything that you want to grow further.
So if somebody was to start a community today, what's one piece of advice that you would give them?
I think I would just tell them to stay true to your story. Don't try to be someone else. Like, I know, for example, I know another concept in New York that I think is amazing, and I almost wish I did it, where they're solely focused on dancing. Like, they're focused on turning up, dancing on other people, like completely having a great time. That is, not Blacklist. But I think we need an organization like that has a completely other purpose. And so if they did that and then we're trying to use my marketing, that wouldn't make any sense. But they have a marketing strategy that really works for them and they're growing really fast. So I would just say, like, know what you want to accomplish and then execute on that goal. Don't listen to the noise of what other people are doing and what necessarily works for them, because it won't always work for you.
I think you've answered it perfectly. I think staying true to yourself is the key, but also I would add being consistent, because eventually, no matter what market you're in, there's always somebody that will fit your market or your community. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you remain consistent and you show what you like about it and you show your true self, you will attract people naturally. And if you don't do it, Instagram will do it for you.
100%.
Yeah, that's the way that I see it. So